Macca's Guides.
Hey, this video contains spoilers of the Halo 5 campaign. You've been warned. Hey guys, Macca here. Welcome to the Halo 5 Guardians Mission 1 playthrough. I did receive a review copy from Microsoft, and as part of that, I'm able to preview some of the missions right now, and then a little bit more later on as we kind of continue forward. Now, as I said, there was a spoiler warning at the very beginning of the video. In this video, I will be only showing gameplay from Mission 1, so if you're comfortable with seeing footage and gameplay and cinematics from the first mission, feel free to continue watching. I will be coming in and out of commentary throughout the gameplay. I won't be talking during cinematics, and I will be adding some of my personal editorial commentary during the actual gameplay itself, so keep that in mind. We're going to be loading up the first level on Heroic. Now, the actual gameplay you're going to be watching is a little bit of a mishmash between two different videos I've taken. The first half is going to be on Heroic, and the second half is going to be on Normal. I actually replayed the level to get some of the collectibles, and that's why it's like that. It actually does spice up the video. I'll let you guys know exactly when that change happens, though, and I'll leave you guys with the cinematic right now.
Spartan Lock. I have spent enough years with Oni to know the truth. Once this is over, after all I have done, they'll order you to kill us both.
Fire Team Osiris. Over the last 72 hours, 5 colonies have experienced identical events. Massive destruction, Forerunner and Origin. And Dr. Catherine Elizabeth Halsey has managed to contact us. She claims to have information on these attacks.
Halsey is currently in Covenant custody on the surface of Kamchatka. Your mission is to insert behind enemy lines, retrieve Halsey, and bring her back to Infinity. Be advised, Dr. Halsey is accompanied by Covenant Supreme Leader Jul 'Mdama. If you have the opportunity...
Understood, Commander.
Good luck, Spartan Lock. Infinity out.
Tracking gear online.
Affirmative. Say, before we make this jump, anybody want to say a few words?
I figure if God can hear how scared I am, so can everyone else. Locke, you buying first drink when we're done?
You ask, you buy. Fire Team Osiris, the light is green.
Check.
Comms working fine, Lab.
Copy that, Tanaka. Spartan Buck online and ready.
Spartan Vale online.
Weapons free. Contact.
Now, if some of that footage seemed familiar to you, it's probably because some of those clips were used in the Halo 5 Guardians Xbox One launch trailer. I thought right now would be a good time for me to talk about some of my controller settings, as I know a lot of people are always curious. I do play inverted. I also play with 4 sensitivity instead of the default of 3. I do play with the bumper jumper style of gameplay, meaning I use LB to jump, A to sprint, X to dash, and then B to reload, Y to switch weapons, and then the rest kind of stays the same. I just thought I would mention that I do play bumper jumper, and I took a little bit of adjusting during this gameplay to kind of get that aim going as well. Now, one thing you'll notice as soon as you do start Halo 5 is that the auto aim, if you've played the beta, you already know this, the auto aim is significantly turned down, and it's very reminiscent of how the aim assist worked in Halo 1. There's very little aim assist, and that's pretty obvious pretty early on. Right now, you can kind of see me strafing in and out of corners, and you'll notice that my cursors don't really follow the enemies as bad as, or as much as they would in other Halo installments. I'm going to leave you guys with a little bit of gameplay so you guys can hear some of the sounds of Halo 5, and I'll join you back up with a little bit of commentary in a few moments.
All clear.
Move on toward Halsey's position.
Now, pretty early on, you'll probably notice that there's been a significant bump or increase or buff to the actual Promethean weapons themselves. They felt really dinky, a little bit useless in Halo 4. They feel quite a lot better. They feel heavier, they feel more meaty, and they feel like they do more damage in Halo 5, which is a welcome change. Now, you'll see me walking through, progressing through some of the levels. You'll see these pods similar to Halo 4 where you can pick up certain weapons, weapon drops. Right here, you'll see me coming up to an ice wall, and a lot of those ice walls will, and different types of doors that are similar to that ice wall will keep reappearing in the game, and those are actually destructible. So the walls you'll actually have to sprint and then shoulder charge through. There's also little like ceiling things that you can ground pound through the ceiling into another room. So those are a kind of new feature, destructible environments, secret rooms, secret areas, that's going to be in Halo 5, and you're going to want to use your ground pound, your shoulder charge, and all of your Spartan abilities in order to get into those areas. A lot of them do house like really cool weapons and stuff like that that you'll see lying around. Now, I will be using a lot of different weapons in this playthrough. Right now, I have a suppressor and a bolt shot. The bolt shot is a lot different unless I'm using it incorrectly. In Halo 4, I believe it used to be a little bit of like a mini shotgun, and it used to be able to be charged. From what I can tell, it's just like a little bit of a burst pistol that actually homes in and tracks on the enemies. The suppressor is kind of like a SMG for Prometheans. You've also seen me use the BR and the Magnum. Later on, I will be using guns like the Scattershot shotgun, as well as the light rifle and the carbine. So even the binary rifle possibly I might pick up in a bit. So you'll see a wide variety of weapons, including the pulse grenades, regular grenades, and I think I used a few plasma grenades pretty early on as well. So I'm going to be trying to keep the variety level as high as possible so a lot of you guys can see as much as possible in as little time as possible. So here you see me picking up the light rifle, and you see me missing a lot of shots, and the reason for that is that they've introduced or reintroduced D-scope, which basically means if you're looking down the sight of your gun and you get hit by an enemy, it will automatically take you out of scope. Now, for me, as someone who uses the actual stick to click in to scope in, that's going to de-scope me every single time. If you're doing the kind of Call of Duty controls where you're holding the left trigger in order to zoom in, you won't get de-scoped as badly or as much, especially with automatic weapons, but it still does exist. So you want to keep that in mind. If you're getting hit as you're scoped in, it will unscope you, and that can be really hard to get an enemy, especially if you're trying to aim across the map. It also, in multiplayer, will allow players who are being sniped to try to hit that sniper with a long shot BR or a DMR of some sort in order to not get hit in the head, whereas in some of the previous installments, that sniper was always able to aim at you regardless of whether or not you were hitting him or not. Now, if you've been following along, you've probably noticed there seems to be a lot of changes with the way the Spartan moves. There are certain Spartan abilities that are available to all Spartans, not like armor abilities in previous Halo games. And those include the dash, which for me is binded to my X button, and that just gives me a little bit of a dash forward in terms of movement. It doesn't actually do any damage to any of the enemies. There's also a shoulder charge, which is instigated only when you're in a sprint, and that'll directly charge into an enemy and damage them, probably killing them, depending on if you're in single player, kind of what the enemy is. And then there's also a ground pound, which is initiated by jumping and then holding the melee button while staring at the ground into the area that you want to ground pound. There's also a mantle button, so you've probably noticed that a few times already. Halo is kind of synonymous with crouch jumping up onto ledges, but they've introduced mantling, which basically means if you jump towards a ledge and then you press the jump button again, Spartan Lock or Master Chief or whoever it is you are playing in like multiplayer will actually grab onto that ledge and then pull themselves up, which is a new dynamic and allows players to kind of also reach new heights and new areas that they might have not previously been able to reach. And the maps are designed around all of these, so you'll want to obviously keep that in mind when you're playing and deciding and whatever it is that you are looking to do in Halo 5. So just beyond this door that I'm right next to, there are some story elements, and I don't want you guys to miss them. Like I said, I've made a big spoiler warning, and if you've made it this far, it's obvious that you don't mind some of the early story elements being told to you. So I'm going to leave you guys with some of those story elements right now. I'll join you back up in a minute or two.
When did that happen?
Jewel did it. No idea when or why.
Reckon it wasn't an argument, or he'd have cut off her head instead of her arm.
The door is sealed tight.
Forerunner security station. Must be in lockdown.
Let's see. This should do it. Door's open.
The Artemis did the trick. Look, listen to this. They're assaulting the back of the temple. Bring in the Kraken.
Kraken sighted!
Hold position. Buy more time. Jewel's getting desperate. How'd you learn to speak Sangheili, Vale? When I was a kid, I was stuck on a diplomatic shuttle adrift in deep space for 6 months. My options were be real bored or spend the time getting smart.
So this is the exact moment of gameplay where it changed from heroic to normal. I've also changed to a carbine and a shotgun, aka a scatter shot, so the Promethean shotgun. Now I decided to do that in order to show you guys more variety, a little bit of different playstyles, because I'm going to be doing a little bit more run and gun, a little bit more kind of progressing through the level a little bit faster in this gameplay. I'm going to be trying to use some of the turrets and stuff, and a lot of those things are really hard to get to and show properly on the heroic difficulty. I thought it would be better off showing it on the normal difficulty and not being shot by a million different things all at once. Now there are some types of commands here, and if you press up on the D-pad, it'll order your squad to go to a certain location. But if you press up on the D-pad while aiming at an enemy, it'll highlight that enemy in red and basically tell your team to attack that enemy. So you actually just saw me do it now. There's a little bit of a red mark on my screen there in the top left, and that's an enemy that I've marked for my team to go take down. Now, if I'm going to do something along the lines of telling them to go right into the middle of a battlefield and take down the biggest, strongest enemy on one of the harder difficulties, they will die, and they will be downed, and they won't be used. You can't just stay in the back, make them do all of the legwork for you. Now, like I said, it's worth going through some of these ice walls, and you can get some cool vantage points, some cool weapons, so I highly recommend kind of exploring your surroundings when you're playing as well. Now, I'm going to be taking out some of the enemies, progressing forward through this kind of open area. You can see the Kraken in the background shooting as well. And I'll be showing you some turret gameplay. I think I'm also going to pick up a collectible to show you guys and other stuff like that. I will leave the game with a little bit of game audio here for just a minute.
Stop that turret!
1 minute. Busy shooting.
I'll get it done
Keep moving toward Halsey's position. Mount that turret.
I'll man the gun.
Through that turret.
Soldier on me. Sorry, I can't do it. Back off.
Area's clear?
Halsey and Abdallah are somewhere inside that structure. We do this right, we bring our brother. End the Covenant in one move.
Must have dealt a blow to Imdama's authority when the Prometheans turned on him.
Now, on each mission, there is one skull, or at least one skull. Some missions don't have them because they're kind of short cinematic type missions. And then there's also mission intel. Their range is between 5 to 15 like mission intels per level, and they all come in a variety of shapes and sizes. So you saw a little data pack there on the ground. I picked it up and it became one of the collectibles for this mission, which has a total of 7 shown on the top of the screen. When you do pick one up, you can re-pick it up every time. So you want to keep that in mind and not have to worry about someone who's going to pick them up and they're going to disappear and you're not going to know if they're there or if they're missing or if they're glitched. They do stay on the map every playthrough. If you do pick one up that you already have, it will say already found. And yes, if you're wondering if I'm making a guide for them, I already have started, and there will be one out for when the game is released, as well as a variety of other achievement guides and walkthroughs and stuff, so yeah. In this, we are facing the Knights for the first time, and the Knights are kind of specialty enemies. They have kind of glowy areas that are going to be susceptible to damage, and that's where you're going to have to hit them. You probably want to work with your teammates to kind of get their attention. Sneak up behind them, shoot them in the shoulders or in the back where they're glowing with a high damage weapon to take them out. Just after this battle, the mission ends and the screen goes black and it begins the second mission cinematic, so that's why the video is going to end once the screen fades to black. And if you're going to want to see the cinematic for mission 2, I will have a separate video up where I play as the Master Chief and I tell you guys about some more dynamics and mechanics of the game. Thank you guys for watching. Feel free to share this video with your friends if you found it entertaining or informational. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.
All right, danger is clear.
We move on Halsey and Jewel.